Welcome back. North Carolina is once again joining several states to sue the Trump administration over tariffs. State leaders joined a coalition of 24 other states over tariffs of 10% or 12.5% on goods from 60 trading partners. The lawsuit asks the court to block and overturn the tariffs and refund what states have already paid. State leadership argues that these tariffs function as an illegal multi-billion-dollar tax on everyday consumers and local businesses. It also comes following a Supreme Court decision ruling other tariffs placed by the Trump administration are unconstitutional. So we're going to bring in our chief legal analyst, Collie Rhodes, to talk about this. Based on those rulings by the Supreme Court, do you see these latest lawsuits being successful?
Yes and no. Light success on the Trump administration's, and I'll say for a couple of reasons. Let's look at what he did before. First of all, that was that International Emergency Economic Powers Act. Supreme Court instantly shut those down because what Trump administration was attempting to do was have this uniform policy for tariffs, and it didn't allow for that. And so now Letitia James comes out, that's the Attorney General for New York, and says after losing at the Supreme Court, the administration is once again trying to illegally raise taxes on families and businesses with a new round of tariffs. While I agree they are trying something and it does appear to look the same, I think this Section 301 of the Trade Act of 1974 gives them the authority, that broad authority to do that. And why? Because courts aren't going to really want to interfere with the international trade affairs of the executive branch. It's just you have to use, and I said this at the time, you have to use the right mechanism to get there. When he attempted to use that IEEPA, I recognize that was clearly not that, because first of all, it was an emergency. Point to the emergency. You couldn't. This is not on an emergency basis. This is something that's hurting us. It's unfair. It's deceptive. It's a trade practice that's hurting U.S. commerce. Legally, I don't think there's a way they can stop them. They can file this complaint. They can try, but I think the court ultimately, when it gets to the Supreme Court, will be reluctant to stop something like this.
As an attorney general, you know, kind of looking at that information that you just pointed out there, that, hey, like this one's actually okay because it's a different rule that they applied under. Why even bother then suing? Is it more of just for optics, or is there a slight chance of success?
Well, they're going to argue that it's the same tariff, just using a different name. So that's going to be the first argument that they'll make, and they'll say, court, this has the same intent. This is him trying to do what he wanted to do before. You smacked his hand and said he couldn't do it, and so now he found another way. I'd say on the other side of that, if he would have come with this originally with Section 301, we wouldn't even be having this argument. I think that's the only place they can go, is to try to develop that this is a bait and switch. You said he couldn't do it under those tariffs. They are very, very similar in their approach and what they're trying to do. And for those reasons, court, not for policy reasons, not for authority reasons, but for the reasons that this is something you already said he couldn't do and he's just trying to find a workaround, don't allow it to occur. I just don't think that's going to be a strong enough legal basis to be able to stop something like this from being implemented.
Okay, so also in their complaint, you know, asking for money that they've already paid, right, to be given back to states. Would that be tariffs from, you know, the first round that we saw when the Trump administration took effect, or is this from this new round?
It's going to be from that first. You're talking about the tariffs to get paid back. Yeah, that's going to be from the first round.
Okay.
I mean, Apple just announced that they got $2.2 billion with the B back, and so those are the types of things where you have a split of opinion in terms of the impacts of these tariffs. While the Trump administration says, look, a foreign company's failure to impose and effectively enforce a prohibition on the importation of goods produced with forced labor, because that's the biggest thing they're saying, is an unreasonable and burdens U.S. commerce, right? But folks are saying, well, if it affects U.S. commerce, how is it impacting the consumers, the end users? Are you raising prices? A company that pays these tariffs, are you eating and absorbing some of that cost? Now, so remember, the tariffs went in effect. At some point, either Apple paid the tariffs, and now they have to figure out how you deal with that cost. Are you raising the price on your goods? Are you absorbing that cost? So now, fast forward to today, they start to get that money back. Now, does the consumer get that money back? Did you actually raise costs? Did you absorb the cost? Nobody really knows, but we do know that they received $2.2 billion back. So now when you have this second round of tariffs, first of all, you have the legal fight of, are they legally allowed to do this? But now they're still going to already be implemented, so companies will continue to pay the tariffs and will kind of be in that same cycle again. I think this is something to continue to watch, but I think if you're ultimately looking at the court precedent for this type of case, I think they will be able to do it if they can show that it's causing an unreasonable, unfair restraint on consumers in the United States. And what are they pointing to as the unfair? It's this forced labor. You're not paying labor fees. You're using child labor. You're using human trafficking to fund this, and you're not doing enough to police it. The other thing that you ask is, what will the states point to? They'll say that you're trying to do a global tariff, and you're not pointing to specific countries. You're not saying it's itemized into this is the country that's failing to do this. So that's something I think will give them a little bit of a push, but not enough to stop it.
All right. Well, again, always something to keep an eye on. Thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.